All right, so it is a nice, lovely day. The weather we got for the whole next week is just really appetizing. We got snow tomorrow. It was 70 degrees 2 weekends ago. Actually, it wasn't really that bad like last weekend, and you just look at the forecast and you want to throw up. But welcome to Michigan. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change to something you don't want it to be anyway. So, I guess, in all reality, it was not a bad deal that I couldn't get to work on this monitor mount until later in the week, because we ain't going to be working on the planner tomorrow anyhow, and probably not going to be getting the T on the dyno until the weather straightens out, because it's an outdoor dyno. And I don't feel like doing it in 30 degrees. It's supposed to be 30 degrees on Sunday. 34 tomorrow and snow, and 30 degrees on Sunday. I guess the only silver lining is maybe Sunday the ground will be firm enough I can go over to that auction lot and get my stuff out without making a mess. So anyhow, we're going to get started on the monitor mount. Should have it wrapped up tomorrow. I think all the stuff showed up. Is there a... Wait, I wonder if this is it. I bet this is it. I bet this is my box. Hold on. Let me talk to Dad. I think that's my box. Okay, that was my box. It's a Hammond. Made in... I don't know how you pronounce that name. Guelph, Ontario, Canada, eh? Is that Guelph? Guelph? I don't know how the hell you pronounce that. A Canadian will know. But anyway, like I said when we were talking about it in the other video, it's a hingeless. That chain is going to go bye-bye, so that the lid is not physically attached to the box. That way you can carry the lid somewhere convenient but out of the way, and when you're actually using the planner, you don't have to worry about a lid being in the way of the monitors, and the monitor fold box will just be here. And it's a 14 by 11 by 8, so there's plenty of room in there. So that's that. And these the mounting tabs on the back are gonna go bye-bye, because we're not gonna use those. Those are gonna get cut off, and it'll get sandblasted and painted so it's not that god-awful gray. We don't need this place, we don't need it looking like a factory panel. So anyway, with that, everything is here. Dad got all the steel, the box tubes laying down in the barn. This will be the base plate. All I need to do, most of the machining is going to be in the base plate, because I got to punch my 4 holes, mount it to the axle, and make the receiver socket, which is going to have 2 holes punched in it for set screws. And then that's really it for as far as machining, because the rest of it's just going to be a weldment. There'll be a couple more holes there, because we'll have to put a hole somewhere in this box, because the box is going to get, this panel is going to get welded right to the box tube at some angle. So there's going to be a hole somewhere in this area for cord to go through. But anyway, so I've got my plate laid out, 17 inches long, and there's my hole spread. So I'll get this thing cut, and we'll put her up in the ridge fork, and we'll punch us some, what are those, 3/4 inch? Yeah, I need to punch clearance or 3/4 bolts. All right, I'm all indicated out, zeroed out, set up over my first hole, so we're ready to rock and roll. a little more centered, huh? Okay. Now, I just gotta do this in one. Should be able to do this in one step, I think. All right. And there is your bolt pattern for the axle. Okay, I had to bring the tractor up here so I could do some visualization, because this is going to be very much a cut a piece, measure, test fit, do it again kind of project. Although it shouldn't be that hard. So got the plate on the axle, and actually before I am done with this plate, I'm going to have to weld some 3/4 inch washers over all the holes, because even though they look it, these axle housings are not flat. They got a hump in them in the center, and if you don't do something to give it an air gap in the center of the plate, it'll rock, or you'll bend it. Like if you look at the factory fender brackets, they got pads under the bolts, and then it's got a gap in the underneath the center. And when we made these spacer plates, because we made plates, we got them on this and my 1600, I think. We got two sets. I'm pretty sure we got a set on this and a set on the 1600. That actually offset the hole, because right now the way it is, you got 3-inch increments, you can move your fenders. So we made these plates that not only space the fender up an inch so they look better with 38-inch tires, but they're half spacers, so you got you can move 1.5 inches. So like right now, to have this tractor straddle in 30s, the fenders would actually be clear back here, and it makes a really wide gap, and it just looks funny. So we did that for the looks and to raise the fender up. But when we made these, you have to go in and mill out a hole, or mill out a slot right here to give it clearance. Well, you don't really want to be doing that in here because all your strength is in having all the meat in the plate. So if I just weld some flat washers on there to give it some space so that it'll suck up flat and not want to rock. But anyway, I got to cut me a piece of box tube about 11 inches long to get up to here. And then I'll have to put a miter cut in it and put half a miter cut in it, and then cut another piece of box tube and put the other half of the miter cut in that to match the angle of the front of the fender. And then my socket's going to stick up about, I don't know, it'd be from here up to somewhere in here. That way I can put my set screws here and not have to be working underneath here to tighten and loosen it. So I got to go down to the barn and grab me another piece of box tube and make a cut. Okay, so I got my two pieces. The long one's going to sit on the base, and when that stands there at the bottom of the fender, ends up right about there. So that's going to go here like this, roughly. And then the other guy is going to sit on top of it about like yay. And, well, I guess it'd look better if it was like that for you. And where my hand is going to be the front of the fender. So we got a digital protractor, and it's about 110 degree angle if you measure the bottom of the fender up this angle. So that angle is going to have to be about 70 degrees, because 180 minus 110, 70. So I need to take 35 off of here and 35 off of here combined to make a 70 degree angle. So that's where we're at here. So that means I gotta switch the saw over to our miter jig. Alright, so this is a miter jig. Actually, this is the factory vise for this saw. This one, this is an aftermarket Dad bought, but got her set at 35 degrees, so on this piece and that piece, just gonna clip from a corner back and take a bird's mouth off of it. And you make sure you do all your cutting before you go drilling any holes, because right now, the way these pieces of box tube sit, there's no left, right, up, down, center, or whatever. You can take it wherever you want. If I had to punch holes in here for set screws, then all of a sudden you got to make sure you keep it clocked right. Otherwise, you wasted a piece of tubing if you screwed up and cut it in the wrong spot. Cut right on the edge like that, you kind of got to feather the saw with your hand until it gets a good curve cut in it, and then it'll take off and go on its own. But if you don't, the blade will have to tilt off to one side of the cut or the other, because you're cutting right there on that point. Well, I ain't gonna bullshit yet. I screwed up on that first go around. I should have had my angle offset off of 90 degrees, not 180. So I should have took a 20 degree miter 10 off of both sides rather than a 70-degree miter 35 off of both sides, because first time I had it, it was like, eh. So we got that straightened out. I was able to still use both box tubes, even though I lost about 2 inches off of both of them, but I actually like the way it fits better on the fender. So, I mean, yeah, I screwed up, but it worked out. I hate working with angles. I love geometry, don't get me wrong, and if you're making miter cuts and doing goofy angles and stuff every day, yeah, but you forget that shit, and then you gotta do one out of the blue, and it's like, hold on a second. Anyway, so with that, it lays it in perfect in front of the fender, and it keeps the top of the socket just at deck height. I can set it in there real quick for you. So it kind of keeps it a little hidden. Something about like that. And then I'll drill my set screws in on this corner. That way you can get at them with a wrench without having to go underneath the tractor or reach in here or anything like that. You don't got any clearance issues. You can just, they're right here. Plus, you know, everything's gonna be leaning forward. It's gonna want to be pushing out on the pole that the monitor's gonna be hanging on, so it makes sense to push it this way and jam it in this corner. That way gravity's working with you rather than coming in like here or here and pushing it that way. So and for anybody that doesn't do this, you're probably wondering why you put set screws in here at an angle and jam it rather than just going like this. Well, if you put a set screw in at an angle, you're going to jam it against this wall, and wedge it down in this corner. So you got, technically you got 3 points of contact. You got this wall, and this set screw pushing in on it. Where if you put a set screw like in the center of the tube or something, all you're going to do is push it back against this wall, and it can flop back and forth and wiggle itself loose and whatnot. But if you put set screws in the corner, you jam it, it ain't going nowhere. So that's why we're putting them in the corner. Okay, now we're ready to punch some holes in this corner. Had to put the tall jaws on the vise. I got it sitting in a V block so we know it's the true 45. So we're gonna have to center drill them, obviously, because the drill bit's gonna try to walk. And I'm thinking it might be better to hog them out with an end mill. So I think you're gonna be, yeah, you can see. Go right there. I haven't really decided yet where I want this hole down here. Where's my safety squints? That ought to do her. You gotta hog out enough meat, that way the end mill doesn't have to doesn't have to do anything in the center. Oh, it's got worry about the edges. Okay, I was looking for a 4 flute, couldn't find one, but I found an old 5/8 2 flute that's been sharpened that should give me some clearance for a half. We'll see how she does. Alrighty, there we go. Alright, so there's that. And then I take these square nuts and weld them on there like so. And then that whole thing will get welded on there like that. Of course, this will all just get tacked up for now. That way, if we need to make any adjustments, we can pop a couple of tacks and tweak it and tack it again and finesse everything till it fits where we want it. But that's gonna be my stopping point for today, because once we get past this point, we're kind of past the point of having a decent stopping point. So we will catch you guys tomorrow. Teeter. All right, so we're back at this. I had to fix a small oil leak this morning. It's stupid. I saw it last night, and I chalked it up to the steering box might be weeping because that was the only thing wet. And it was cold, so I figured, okay, maybe the seal shrunk a little bit and it was weeping. So I got here this morning, fired the tractor up. That way it could warm up. Definitely don't want to be moving on a fresh engine with that cold because there's snow on the ground right now. And came up here to get the camera and eat a snack and whatnot, and Dad was down in the barn and it was pissing oil on the floor. Well, come to find out that we got this line and then the one underneath that these guys right here, where they turned the hose for the 3-speed oil cooler. That bottom one, the hose clamp had broke and the hose slid back on the tube like that far and was damn near off. So I managed to fish a new hose clamp on there. I'll tell you what, that was fun. I ended up having to pull the grill screen out, put the hose clamp on up here, and then fish it down the hose because there's not enough room to get 2 hands in anywhere along here to do it. But we got her done. So anyway, back to the project at hand. I'm gonna get these guys welded on here real quick and probably go ahead and put a couple tacks on and get this all tacked up so we can set it in here, figure out where we want it. And then when we figure out where we want it, I gotta punch another hole in this plate for like a drain so that shit can't sit inside that box tube and build up. And then I'm probably, because I got enough room, rather than cutting this plate off, I'll make a couple gussets so we can make a triangle, and I'll make some triangle gussets that go up to the box tube to help it, because you got plenty of strength back here because you're bolted solid to the axle, but up here that'll keep it from rocking forward. So not that you're gonna bend that 3/4 inch plate, but, or sorry, 5/8 plate. So, but better safe than sorry. Okay, got the tube or the socket tacked together, went test fitted on the tractor. This right here, the angle on it's perfect. I cut that tube there by the tire. That's gonna be my upright. So this is basically where it's gonna end up, inch and 3/16 in from both sides to be centered, and then inch and 7/8 back gives a pretty decent air gap between the fender and the upright tube. So, but that being said, that means I gotta punch a hole right there to let shit fall through. So do that real quick, then we can go ahead and tack this on, and we'll put it back on the tractor, retest fit it, and then if everything's kosher, I'm going to cut some gussets that go from the corner up in here to give that thing some stability this way, since all your weight is obviously going to be out here. Alright, everything looks good. I got plenty of clearance between the fender. It's got a little bit of wobble to it, but that's probably because the hump in the axle, I don't really have it super duper tight yet. Because I was trying to get it level front to back so that I could make sure that everything was kosher up in here. So we'll get it on there, get it tight. But with everything looking good here, I should be good to take the base off and weld everything up solid, because everything from there down is pretty much kosher. Alrighty, there's our finished product. Got gussets on there. Ended up going a little bit more stout than washers. We made some actual pads for it to clamp down on, so. But should be good to go ahead and put this on the tractor permanent. Because like I said, we'll put it together, run it for spring, make sure there's no modifications we want to make or any major changes, and then get done planting. I'll pull it off and pull the monitors out of it and take it over to my buddy Tyler, have him blast it, and then we'll paint it, and then it'll be done. But no sense in slapping a coat of shiny on it if you're not 100% sure you're not going to make any changes. So I'll get her put on the tractor and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I jumped ahead a little bit, my bad. I got rolling and kind of forgot. So anyway, got my upright done. Got a 2x4 rat hole board in it for the wire to come out the side. And I took a piece of, what is that, 1/4 inch key stock, I think. Something we had laying in scrap. And welded it on there, so I got a solid lug for this thing to buck up against, and I cut a taper at the, or a miter at the bottom to match the miter in the socket. So there's that, and then the box is gonna sit about like yay. There'll be a hole right there above the tube to fish the wires through. So before we can go welding the box on the tube or anything like that, just to make life easier so that we're not wrestling this whole assembly here, we'll see what we can do about getting the monitors mounted in the box and get our hole cut. And then there'll be, for kind of rigidity, 2 pieces of flat stock laying here that whatever angle the box is at will match it, and tie the front and the back of the box together underneath for some rigidity. So that's where we're at, making progress. This will be the last hard part. After that, it's once the hole's in, we know our location. It's gonna be a matter of figuring the angle and buzzing it in. So pitter patter. Okay, so we got our monitor and our fold box. This is actually the fancy monitor. It's the SM3000, or if you want to be technical, it's a Dickie John model 3000 or 300 or whatever the hell the Dickie John, because Dickie John made it. It says right in the manual, if you have any issues with it, send it to Dickie John, not to AGCO. And obviously White made the fold box, but Dickie John made the important part. So anyhow, in order to make this a little easier and get these things separated, because right now the only thing that ties these two together is the plug, which after I had all these separated out and they tangled themselves up again. But anyway, as you can tell, this right here is not factory. That's some Radio Shack special bullshit. And then this extra wire they got, I don't know what all they got going on here. But we're going to snip this bad boy off back here at the factory harness and get rid of all the bullshit. And I got a new one of these. I forgot to bring it. It's at the house. But so that's step one, is I'm going to clip this thing off and get rid of this menagerie of bull crap. That, like, why? Why do you need... Let's count. You got the wire here. You got... So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wires in this little... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 wires in to get this connected to here. Why? Okay, so in order to facilitate ease of installation, because this box is going to be wide enough that you won't be, if you like did welded tabs in the back of the box for these to mount on, you wouldn't be able to get the bolts in the side of the monitor. So in order to alleviate that situation, basically what I'm going to do is make an abbreviated back plate, make a flat stock frame that catches these 4 tab, or these 4 posts where your base plate, if you were making this an actual electrical panel, would be. And then this will have tabs that will catch the side rails, and then this one I'll have to put a rail across in here somewhere to because this box will be offset back here, and then the cords will end up here. So that's kind of the plan. Well, there's our box. That's the frame the monitors go on. The fold box. It sucks having this bar back here, but I couldn't really move it forward any further because the cord's right in line, so I kind of got to cock it a little bit to get the cord to go underneath. But it'll be all right. Top monitor fits fine. Sorry, I was just thinking what I might be able to do different, but I'll have to get the monitors, because this is obviously easy enough to take in and out, so if I feel like I want to modify it, but I'll have to get it to where I haven't had the monitors in the box yet. I'll have to get the monitors in the box and get them situated in there and see how they actually fit. And then there's the hole the cords are going to go through, and then be welded to the box tube right here. So, but I got to get the spot weld cutter out and knock these mounting flanges off, because we don't need those. And we're damn near done, but it's also damn near quitting time. I'm getting stuffy from all the welding, so probably about time to call her quits for the day. I think first thing in the morning. Hopefully the ground's firm enough. I'm going to go over and try to get my stuff. So pull that auger and that anhydrous tank home and get Morley over there. They got a loader out there yet, and have them set that Century tank in the back of my truck. So, but you guys will have already seen that, because I'm going to make that a video that'll be up before this. So, anyway, we will catch you guys tomorrow afternoon finishing this little project up, because guess what? It's still supposed to snow tomorrow morning. Neato. Alright, so we got the mounting tabs cut off the back of the box, so it's ready to weld on. And I made a little modification to my monitor mount and cut this section out and put a step in it, so now my cables can go straight out the back and I can keep the fold box flat. Why I didn't, well, honestly I didn't even think about having this back here till I got everything welded together and went to stick the box back in the bracket, and so I was like, oh shit. So that was easy enough to change. But as far as I know, everything is ready, so I just got to hold this up there and we can tack it on kind of where I want it to be, and then pull the whole thing off and weld it up on the bench, and we're pretty much there, really. About like that ought to work. That one you just did this pop. I want to do one in that corner closest to you just to make sure. All right, we got all the fabric cobbling done. I hope. So, should be good. Just slap this bad boy together and see how it works functionally. Tell you what, obviously I can't listen to the radio while I'm doing the video bullcrap because YouTube's a dipshit and can't distinguish background music with music that's actually been intentionally put into the video. But anyway, I am just about to the point where I physically cannot listen to country music radio on the radio. When I'm in my truck, I pretty much exclusively listen to Pandora unless I'm driving a short enough distance I don't feel like hooking my phone up to my Bluetooth. But that new damn Miranda Lambert song, what the hell is it called? If I Was a Cowboy or whatever the hell, about being a lesbian cowboy, because last I checked, if you were a cowgirl, you were a girl, and if you're a cowboy, you're a boy, whatever. Between that song and that Morgan Wallen one, Flower Shops, I hear they play, our radio station probably plays those two songs like 10 times a piece a day, and I'm to the point where I just can't take it anymore. Like, at my new job, I'm obviously been working in the shop a lot because of weather, and I'm to the point this week, I'm probably just going to take my damn Bluetooth speaker into work so that I can play my Pandora, because I can't do it anymore. It's going to drive me nuts. It's the same it's the same 5 songs over and over and over. It's like they don't realize that there was songs made, you know, before 2021. It's like, yeah, it's infuriating, because country music today is garbage to begin with. I don't know how anybody can listen to it. I like Jason Aldean because I grew up with him. He had a lot of songs I like. I still like Jason Aldean because I think, despite the fact that he has some bro country songs, he's got a lot of country songs that actually feel like country songs. I like Jason Aldean. I don't mind Justin Moore. Obviously, Chris Stapleton's the man. But outside of that, there really isn't a single modern country artist that I can stand listening to. I need to get a new... These got... They're called, what the hell are they called? Walnuts or something. Well nuts is what these things are called. They're little rubber grommets with like brass threads vulcanized into them, and I think this one's screwed up, and I think the little brass piece inside has come undone from the rubber because it doesn't really want to tighten up. Sometimes I can get it to go, and sometimes I can't. Kind of took. They're definitely not going nowhere. They're stuck there. So now I gotta fish all this stuff down through the tube. Well, there it is. That's supposed to be at self-check, I believe. But it comes on, so that's always a good sign. Hopefully the fold box works. One would think when you flip that switch on it would be illuminated, but I don't know if it's illuminated or just reflective. Or, Lord knows, the bulb could be burned out in the switch too. So, fortunately, we won't know if the fold box works until I can actually go to unfold the planter. I'd go hook onto it now, but it's just too damn cold up there for that crap. Plus, everything on the planter's probably froze. So we had a nice layer of ice on everything when it got cold out. So, hopefully one afternoon this week it'll be decent out, and I can run the old girl up there and get it hooked up for the first time and try to unfold it and whatnot, see where we're at. But it turned out pretty clean. Eventually we're probably going to have to relocate the plug-in for the power, because the whole reason it ended up here was my original intent was to mount the monitor off of this frame pad and stick it up there, and that whole plan, as you can see, got shot to shit. So now there's really no reason for this to be up here. It could be back there somewhere, because there's really no good way to route the cable or route the power cable. There's not really any way to hang a tube on here without hacking and whacking on the... It's going to be easier to end up eventually if everything works out, and we'll play with it and see what works best, but eventually it's going to end up working better to have this guy back there somewhere. So it's just out of the box tube into a plug. Or for that matter, this thing could probably be welded straight up and down right here on the side of the mount, and then it's just right there. Or something to that effect. But I got spade connectors in here to hook the harness, because this is what that started out life as. It was a double end. I assume you use them like to jumpstart vehicles, possibly. I don't know why else you'd have a double 12-volt plug-in on a cord, but so I took that, cut one end of it off to use the other plug, and then cut a piece of that off as a pigtail, and then I got spade connectors in here hooking everything together, so that if for some reason you ever need to send the monitor in to get worked on or the fold box in to get worked on, you can send them separate and not have to cut wires or anything. You just unwrap the tape and unplug it, and away it'll go. But it's nice and solid. Probably gonna end up making a deal, because this is the lid for that. Yeah, obviously you saw it. This is the lid for the box. Probably gonna end up making some sort of, getting hooks like what's on the front to put on the back, so that you can just fasten the lid to the back of the box for storage. And then obviously once we get all the modifications and changes and whatever ends up needing to be done to it over time, we'll get it painted. I'm going to paint the base green and the post and everything white, so you got some color contrast there, so it's not all just all green blending in with itself. And then for right now, we got the planter cords just coiled up back here, because until we get the planter hooked up to know how far back we got to come, there's really, you can't really do anything with them. They're just going to have to chill out there for a minute. So fun. But all in all, I dare say she turned out pretty good. And before anybody says, why did I go through all this effort? Why didn't I just mount them on the fender? Because Oliver fenders are really hard to find in good shape. And I'm not about to go drilling holes in the tops of fenders that are this good a condition and this hard to find. Plus, this makes it a whole lot easier to take the monitors on and off as a unit and not have to do a bunch of jacking around with bolts and whatnot. So here you're going to have a couple zip ties, which eventually, if we move the plug, that's going to eliminate the zip ties. And 2 set screws, and it just comes unplugged, and you take it and put it in the barn where it's safe, and you're not carrying the monitors around on the tractor with you. So anyhow, I guess there really ain't a whole lot else to show you. So other than that 5/8 plate had a little bit of flex in it, so I ended up welding a tab to the top of it right there, so that it's got one bolt on top of the axle housing to take the shimmy out of it, and that really stiffened that bad boy up. So I guess that's the only other thing I need to show you. So with that being said, I guess that does it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.